2-3 weeks, and then they go back or whatever,
Right.
and have such a good time, and then they leave, and I don't have many people to talk to.
Yeah.
My wife is awesome though, because she sits there and listens, and she's also a practitioner of all the qigong and neigong. She's done it
excellent.
with me,
Excellent. So,
and she's in the healing side.
Right.
She's a chiropractic doctor.
so we are back at the Happiness Podcast Project.
We had a lot of great conversations, and
Great.
actually, when you started talking about your wife, chiropractic, and you were talking about neigong, which I still don't know the terminology. I know it because you've explained it, and it embodies a lot of what nowadays would be called metaphysics, but it really isn't. It's just like mastering your psychology and mastering your body, and understanding that those connect, and in turn, it brings you into new situations that are beneficial for you.
Yes, sir.
With an addition of the feedback loop, meaning that, like I think the most beautiful part, we had this conversation off camera, and you said, like the thing was what Wing Chun is all about, protecting your center line, and then you said Jeet Kune was about there is no center line. I'm not here, you can't hit me, there's nothing to protect. And then I said, yeah, it sounds metaphysical. He said, yeah, but the feedback loop is on the mat. Can you hit me? And I was like, yeah. And that's what makes it real. And that's what makes it understand. And that's where you take, like, I believe in a lot of different things, and people think I'm crazy, especially my strict Southern Baptist family. But I say there's a different dimension, and there's yourself in a different dimension. And that's what your inner voice is. And I think that feedback loop brings yourself from the inner dimension here. And then you're just like, yes, I can do all of this, but you're becoming your higher self if you're able to achieve these goals that you want to achieve.
Grover, did you say higher self?
Higher self, yeah.
You said it.
Stop.
It's funny that you said it.
You're so happy.
I'm so happy.
Stop making fun of me. Stop making fun of me, Scott.
And then also going on with the feedback loop, it's almost like life. You get hit in the face, and it's about just keep going on. There is no protection of that center line because you just understand this happens, and so let's just keep on going. Let's keep moving forward.
Until you learn enough that you don't get hit in the face.
Yeah, it's about the problem with getting hit in the face is being afraid of being hit in the face.
Yeah. We have just solved the world's problems right now. We should stop right now. That's a Happiness Podcast Project. Call us, we'll solve all your problems.
When Mike Tyson said it the best, right? Everybody's got a plan till they get punched in the face.
Yeah.
So the first rule of boxing for me was, for the first 4 months I boxed with my old Sifu, I'd have my hand back like this, and I was like that. I wasn't allowed to throw a punch. I'm just learning how to move, eat the punches, and move with them, so I'm not afraid of getting hit anymore.
Right.
And so before I even threw a punch. So same thing in jiu-jitsu. The old way of jiu-jitsu was the white belt was about survival. So you're just getting smashed and smashed and smashed. So you're like, okay, I'm just getting smashed. I'm not going to freak out about getting smashed.
You're right.
Once you let go of that.
Because the biggest freak out is getting smashed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm going to get smashed anyways. Why am I afraid of getting smashed? Now we're ready to learn. And oftentimes when we talk about mindset, we talk about mentality, we talk about meditation, many different techniques, or holistic health and wealth. And I can't speak to other things, but I can speak to, in traditional Chinese Gong Fu, the internal systems. You have Qigong, which is for health.
Right.
You have Neigong, which was normally kept a secret because now it was taking these methods and putting it into a martial context. And then you have something called Shen Gong, which is development of the spirit. Gong means work, and that's spirit work. And it's what it means. And so Qigong is health work, circulation of the Qi, making sure your internal organs are functioning properly, that there's, you can either run hot or you can run cold, or excess or deficient. And so you bring your body into balance. Then Neigong that's where, when you start getting into Neigong, it's really energetic psychology, because you're really discovering who you are, and having, you got to look at the man in the mirror and accept it and love it wholly and totally. Now, a lot of people will take that statement as, what does that have to do with martial arts? But that's part of the training.
A lot.
Right? It has everything to do with it. And so when we talk about, when you can let go of your fears, your ego, competition, that's the center you're trying to protect. Because you're worried about victory or defeat. Victory or defeat doesn't exist. It's in the future. So if you attach yourself to something in the future that hasn't even happened yet, that's kind of crazy. It's kind of insane, right? And so the work is designed to disconnect yourself from the stories that you've told yourself, the beliefs that you have conditioned yourself to believing.
Right.
And when you can do that, and it's really hard to do. This is not something easy. And I'm still working. I'm not some master.
Of course.
That's the thing. I'm not a master. I hate the word master. I'm just a master student. I'm always a student. There's no such, I don't believe in the word master. That's kind of identifies some kind of destination that you've arrived.
Right.
There's so much to learn that there's no arriving.
Yeah, the most accomplished martial artist I ever met in my life calls himself guru. Calls himself teacher, but not master.
Yeah.
And that's Guru Dan
Yep.
in the saddle.
Yeah.
And these are the things that, like, when I first started, I was like, man, I can't wait till I get my black belt. And maybe someday somebody will call me professor, like Professor Moses Powell, and I'm going to be this, that, and this, that. And then the more I went, the more I was like, I just please call me coach. I just want to keep working.
Yeah.
I just want a life of movement.
Yeah.
I just want to, like, I've had some injuries, and I know people my age, and I'm like, well, why are you walking like that? And they're like, oh, dude, I just work and go home and sit on the couch. I'm like, no.
Yeah, it's like it goes back to the stories, right? That of what we think is what is, and that all comes down to for most people, our parents, what we've learned from them, our teachers, our friends, colleagues, coworkers.
Right.
That's normally what creates your belief system. But that belief system is bound to their experiences. So you're just entering other people's boxes.
Generational things too, yeah.
Generational things,
Yes.
right? That are just being passed on, and you're continuing on.
This is what this podcast is about. This is it right there. And I said this on the right over here. You cannot be dumber than your parents. And if that's just, and parents do this to you on accident sometimes, or people do this to you on accident. You cannot make decisions with their information.
Yeah.
You have to make decisions with new information. You can't be in a box they want you to be in. And that's why sometimes you got to look at your loved ones and say, you know what, with all due respect, no, I'm doing this my way. Because you're making it with new information. And new information is yourself and what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely. As the saying goes, absorb what's useful, reject what's useless.
100%.
Research your own experience, and then add that which is specifically your own,
Yeah.
And build your own story. Be the
And
hero of your own story.
That's the whole deal. And I think, like, when we're talking about the center line part, it's like when you can let go of your center line, if you let go of your center line and now you're open to the experience,
Yeah.
the fight, the chaos, you can either be like, oh man, don't hit me, that guy's fast, he's so big, oh man, he did this to this other person. Or in life, you're like, oh, all these problems, these bills, how am I going to get myself out of it?
Right.
Or you can just let go, surrender, and just be like, let's see what happens, man. I want to go for the dance. Take me on this ride, And you do that, that's totally cool. But then when you come to training, you got to task the mind to do the exact opposite.
Right. Right. Because you got so you have to have a yin and a yang.
It's really Taoist,
everywhere
in that way.
Everywhere you have to have a yin and a yang. You can't, you must have balance.
Yeah.
It's like surrendering, but also having discipline. Like it's
So we say unconditional yielding and structure.
Right.
That's yin yang, right? And so, hey, if I'm sparring somebody and you're gonna beat me, I'm not gonna help you beating me by me worrying for one moment that you're gonna beat me. If you beat me, shit, high five. Now I get to figure out where I got beat, and so I get better. So I win again.
Yeah.
So I'm always winning. But if it's my ego that says, oh man, all my students are watching, I've got an organization, and what if I lose, and all this kind of shit comes into play. And then when that comes in, it's just like, man, I've spent more money paying people to beat me than anything in the world. I spend more of my time losing.
Right.
Right? Every Sifu of mine kicks my butt. My Wing Chun Sifu Ben.
Yeah.
It's Chisao. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
When I'm doing Angel's Disciple Sarada, I'm getting murdered over there.
Right.
Derek Sierra, my former pro boxing coaching. Let's go. Get beat up over there. 6-time world Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion Marcelo Luzado. Get smashed for 2 hours. Tai Chi. Get thrown all over. Bounced off walls.
Yeah.
So that's my theory of winning is to learn how to lose.
I think it's really interesting because we were just talking about the different martial arts styles that you do, or that you've studied. And of course, I've always looked at it that martial arts is a study of self-improvement. So right now, I heard boxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Wing Chun, Tai Chi, and
Xingyi.
Sarada,
Yeah.
Kali.
Yeah.
What else did I miss?
Xingyi is in there. I'm sure you've done.
Xingyi and Tai Chi
Xingyi
and
and Tai Chi.
Bagua and
Bagua.
more on the internal on the Bagua and the Xingyi.
Yeah.
I know the forms. I've done the forms,
Right.
but with the Bagua and the Tai Chi is I do Chen style Tai Chi, and then all the internal aspects that are kind of from Xingyi, a lot of the meditation parts aspects, and same thing from Bagua.
Right. But one thing that I've learned is that all martial arts systems that come from indigenous martial arts systems, they all have what you've described. They have the physical, and they have the mental, they have the healing, and they have the spiritual. Kali is the same way, of course. All African martial arts that I looked at, even the fast wrestling, even the Senegalese fast wrestling.
That's cool.
I
want to
did-
go check it
did
out.
before. There's some big boys.
Yeah, I want to definitely check it out.
But it's funny because when you're getting thrown, you realize that there's so much technique. It's not just strength.
Yeah, it's soft.
Yeah.
You think that there's just big brutes, but the best. I wrestle too. I wrestle into Savat, also French Savat, the old box, not the box Francais, but the old one.
So we're at 9 right now that I'm counting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I think I'm at 10.
10.
Sounds like 10, yeah.
So yeah, and and Jeet Kune Do is what I teach, and I always wanted to. My goal with Jeet Kune Do was to go on the journey, and not copy someone else's journey.
Right.
And somebody else went on a journey, and then they get to their destination, and then I learn about the destination. I want to go on the journey for myself because that's really what it's about, right? It's a journey of
Yeah.
self-discovery, but really to discover the roots. And when I would go and study the Wing Chun, I see, oh man, this is the traditional way. This is what influenced. You just study the boxing, you're like, oh, I understand now. This is what this is, and you look at the Kali and the Eskrima, and you're like, oh. But
Yeah.
go to the source,
Right.
and not the degrees. That's one thing I've always done is go to the source, and I've invested a lot of money in it.
Yes.
I could have gone to like MBA at an Ivy League school and stuff.
Right,
Instead,
yeah.
I said I'm gonna invest in myself, and I've always only ever taken private lessons
Right.
with the masters directly.
Wow.
And
Wow.
and that gave osmosis. Because you learn by osmosis. When you learn by touch and feeling and throwing and being hit, your body's learning it, not just learning the technique.
I have to say that investing in yourself and paying for training is the most important thing about being a martial artist. Because, like, I went to the Philippines and I studied with Yuli Romo. I go down to LA and I study with Roger Agbulos, which Roger is part of the original Backyard Gang from Edgar Salite. I haven't seen Roger since summer, so I'm due to get down there again. Of course, I study with Brenda King, which is funny because this kind of goes into me studying. Everybody who I've mentioned, I really get along with. Went and did some Thai camps in Thailand just recently with Twin Tigers Muay Thai, Chiang Mai Muay Thai. And Tony's in Fairtex, so I had a wide experience. But going there and training with people, I mean, I haven't done as many privates, but training with people, training at the source, and just seeing different training techniques. But also, there's something about being there with some really good martial artists that, like, it's infectious. Things that my mom taught me, my grandma taught me, like hanging around the right people in the right crowd. It really has something to say. And I think just to put it on a level that we're talking about, it's the energy. It's the energy that you get from certain people. Like, so there's certain people that I just don't deal with no more as an adult. And it's not because I dislike them, but it's like, okay, we're just not gonna have contact because your actions, I think, may be infectious to my lifestyle, and I don't want that energy in my life. And unfortunately, I may like your personality, but there's parts of your personality that may be toxic and I can't be around. Yeah. And I think every adult has to do that. And I think that's part of being your best self. I think that's part of being your higher self is doing that. And I would be curious of your thoughts of what I said about that.
Yeah, man. I call them energy vampires. You know, and there's energy vampires that are out there, or tyrants. There's two kinds of tyrants that you're gonna experience in your life.
Yeah.
Number one is like a small tyrant, right? That's somebody that annoys you to death every single day. So they steal a little bit of your energy every day.
Yeah.
But it's not enough to like kill you, but it's just annoying, and they're just in your life, and they're just draining from you all the time. And then there's somebody who has control over, you know, life and death, or your career, or your trajectory, or whatever it may be. So somebody else who has more power over, or you think they have more power over your life and how you want to live it. And they are actually the greatest teachers you could ever have.
Yes.
Because they're placed in your life. You can have a teacher in your life that's Yoda. But Darth Vader is just a good teacher as Yoda. Because Darth Vader will show you, you can achieve, you know, a level of understanding with Yoda or from Darth Vader. You're going to come to the same place.
Right.
This is crazy because Luke didn't kill his father at the end.
Yeah.
He didn't. He looked at his father after he beat Darth Vader, and he withheld from killing him.
Right.
That was
So-
basically looking at a reflection of a future
That's it.
self of him. Yeah.
And so, you know, that's it. And so you got to value Darth Vader's in your life just as much as you value Yoda, because not everybody's going to have the ability to have Yoda in their life. But interestingly, more people have Darth Vader's
But everybody
in
will
their life.
have a Darth Vader. You will go your whole life without meeting Yoda, but you gonna meet a bunch of Vaders.
You will. And
Yeah.
and embrace them. Welcome them into your life, and don't fight them, and just like, oh, the universe has sent me a gift to learn and grow. And what wisdom can I extract from this, instead of fighting it or becoming like it? And
Interesting.
oftentimes you'll go through fighting it, you go becoming like it, repeating it and all that, till one day you realize, either through circumstance or getting slapped in the face or
Right.
continually making mistakes, but at some point you'll understand.
You'll learn from it.
You'll learn from it. You'll gain and extract the wisdom, and then you can let it go and not harbor any animosity towards it.
Excellent.
Because if you do, then you are replicating the Darth Vader behavior
You're actually competing.
with Darth Vader. That doesn't make much sense.
And you're competing, and when you're in competition, the reason why I say competition is the opposite of creativity. Because if I'm in competition, I'm just trying to be you.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to outdo you.
Yeah.
Where if I'm being me, then who can be me except me?
That's it, man.
It's its own, you're externalizing,
Yeah.
you're giving away that power instead of
So this
drawing it in.
This is a super interesting podcast because we spoke about martial arts lineage. We spoke a lot about energy and a lot about inner self, which by the way, I did not expect us going that deep into it, but I thank you. But one thing I want to talk about too is that you train the physical in JKD Athletic Association. A thing that when I first said, I looked at it, I said, man, I don't know, I'm even gonna be able to talk to these dudes because these are some badass athletes. I mean, you see people are ripped, and I seen one video, man, you was throwing a kettleball back and forth with this cat, and I was like, and it wasn't like a kettleball, it wasn't like a 5 kilograms. It was like a big ass, a real kettleball.
Yeah, it was 24 kg, 53 pounds.
Yeah, but they were throwing it like from here to here. They was swinging this heavy kettlebell. Dude, it looked like it was like 20 yards or something. I was like, what's wrong with it? What are these people doing? I'm like, these fools went to Mexico and got some supplements. You know, but I have to say, I know you talked about like your whole mindset and your mindset training your body and your mind, but you do spend a lot of time making sure that you're physically able to do what you want to do.
The body's the temple.
Yeah.
And it's a gift that's been given to me by God to express what I can make of it. You know, and I have some amazing teachers. So with the kettlebell partner passing, it's called kettlebell partner passing.
Yeah.
One of my good friends taught it to me. His name is Michael Castro Giovanni. We were both kettlebell instructors, and he took this different take on it. And like, look, he said, we can combine this idea of martial arts of connecting to each other. And what better way is it if a cannonball is coming at you, that you catch it, manipulate it, and be connected to the other person. So now there's an element of change instead of just training by yourself.
Right.
So that was really a cool thing. So if anybody's ever interested, check out KPP. It's called Kettlebell Partner Passing. Another one of my teachers that people must have heard of because he's been on everything from Oprah to Stanley's Superhumans. His name is Dennis Rogers. And Dennis Rogers, if you check him out, I mean, he's a real life superhero. I mean, he's a superhero. It's crazy. It's a superhero. There's no other way to put it. And I mean, the things I've seen him do are quite phenomenal. You can go check him out like online and see his highlight reel and stuff. Like, imagine 4 Harleys and he's holding onto them, and then they can't take off.
What?
Yeah, taking 2 Cessna planes and bracing like this, and they're trying to go like that, and he's holding them.
I can't wait. I can't wait to watch this. What's his name again?
Dennis Rogers.
Dennis Rogers. So
Yeah.
we have to make a note of that.
Dennis Rogers. Check him out, and I mean, you'll be like, wow. And then I got accepted as one of his, into his program, and he's my teacher. And
Right.
so, the other things he does, like he'd bend a wrench. He could just take a wrench and go like that. And you're like, and he's not a big dude. He's in his 60s, and he's about 5'7", maybe 160 pounds. Okay, so it's not like half Thor. So it's not like half Thor. Like if you guys see world squat and deadlift record, like the mountain from Game of Thrones. Like you look at half Thor, and you're like, oh, okay, this guy.
You're like, this makes sense.
Yeah, this makes sense.
Yeah.
But half Thor can't do what he could do.
That's dope.
Right, and you see it happen in front of you, and you're like, and he always said to me, he said, if another man can do it, I can do it. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, he's been tested by universities and stuff like that. I think the University of Houston tested him, and he has the most amount of ability to contract and control his muscles than anybody they've ever tested.
Wow.
From Olympic level athletes to they're not even on the same scale.
Right.
And he always talks about the power of belief and training and doing. He was also world arm wrestling champion, stuff like that. And then he taught me how to, channel into different things. Like, sometimes, I don't know if you've seen, on YouTube, I've done demonstrations when I do talks. I take a nail, I hold it in my hand, and I 1-inch punch it through a board and pop a balloon on the other end.
I haven't seen that. What did I see on YouTube? I seen you swinging a kettlebell that was huge. It looked bigger than you. And I just seen a lot of movement that
Sure.
you do, which is really what I'm most interested in.
Let me see if I've got a hat. Oh, right behind you. Grab that right there. See that metal? It's just right behind you.
Yeah. All right. I'm grabbing something.
Right there. That metal. See the metal twisted? Yeah. So check it out.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I did that with my hands. Like it was a straight bar.
Come on.
And Dennis taught me how to do that. So, you can check it out too. It's like, if I had a bar, I could do it for you, but I don't have one. I broke my finger, but, check it out. Try to open it, do whatever. You're a pretty strong man. Give it a try. That used to be a straight bar.
Dude, that's...
I have to angle or leverage it.
Oh, you can try all you want.
you would have to rip a bicep trying to do that, dude.
Just an example of when you task the mind and remove limitations and be like,
Here you put it down, you hear how heavy it is. It's super. Okay, so let me describe this to everybody so I want them to understand. I picked it up. It's super heavy. I mean, it's super dense. It's metal. When I pulled it, it felt like pulling on a spring where it would give about an inch before it contracted back. And you bent that with your hands.
yeah, it's called scrolling. You take it, you bend it. Use different parts of your body to bend it.
Yeah.
And you bend it and you get maximal strength. And so Dennis, I'll tell you a funny story. I said, Dennis, I want to feel this practically. And so I put him in the guard. So if those who don't know, you're on your back, and I wrap my legs around his waist. He just did this. And my guard popped open. Because if I held on any longer, there's a video of it too. I haven't posted it yet, but I would have torn everything in my groin area if I held any longer. The force was that crazy. Jesus. He can take a deck of cards and tear it into quarters.
Ooh.
Think about that. One, and then once you've torn it in half, tear the other piece into another piece. He can tear it behind his head. And so when you see people do stuff like that, you're like, wow. So again, going back to what is the limitations? In Jeet Kune Do, it says having no way is way, and having no limit is limit.
Yeah.
So I said, and no limit is limit doesn't mean like levitate or anything. It means like, what are the limitations you've placed upon yourself, and remove those, right?
Yeah, and I always thought it meant, I never thought it meant physical limitations. I thought it always meant your ability to say to actually make yourself do it.
It's all of them.
Yeah.
It's physical, mental, energetic,
Right.
and spiritual. It's removing any limitation or block.
Because everyone who tells me who's ever done something, we've spoken to some entrepreneurs, we've spoken to some just people who are doing different things, and what people tell me that the biggest roadblock was doing it, saying I'm gonna do it, and everything in my life, like it's funny, it's like I'm gonna do this, no, that's stupid, I'm gonna do it, no, you can't do that, I'm gonna do it, no, it's stupid, then I do it, I'm like, wow, I'm doing it, and it's just, I think like we're the biggest roadblocks to ourselves.
It is. You know, again, the saying goes, what, willing is not enough, we must apply. Thinking is not enough, we must do.
Yeah.
Right? And so there's a lot to it, but what ends up happening when people, even when they do try to do or
Right.
try to apply, they fail. So then they quit. But you got to invest. Another Tai Chi philosophy is invest in loss.
Yeah.
You're investing in losing.
Right.
Invest in losing, and eventually you'll lose less.
So a lot of this sounds like just the things that you're taught with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu too, right? Like every time you tap it, you learn from the tap, so you win.
Jiu-Jitsu embodies it, man. If
Yeah.
you have never tried Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, go to a good, safe place and go do it. As a white belt, get smashed for the first 5 minutes.
And into a lot of self-defense, right?
Yeah.
Feel free to come to PSD with Eric Arches. I work
Yeah,
there.
check it out. I recommend that place too. And you know, I think the thing is, spend 5 minutes underneath somebody, and you'll feel like you're drowning under a wave.
Yeah.
And and so I have a lot of executives that come in and train with me. I have a program called the Masterful Man, which is a high-end coaching program for,
Right.
and you know, women as well. But I've had a few executives that come in, and I one of the first things I do is I choke them close to, you know, I say, get up. They're on the ground, and they say, get up. And they've never been in. It doesn't matter how big they are, how strong they
Never
are.
been in that situation.
Doesn't matter. I don't care if you're a power lifter or whatever it is. After some time, they gas, and once they gas, it's the worst feeling in the world. It's like you're drowning on dry land. And then that drowning on dry land, you push it, and you push it, and you push it, and you push it, till eventually they get out of their head, and then they come close to the veil where they're about to pass out. And then they achieve a state of stillness. And, you know, I've had people that have come to me, they're like, oh, man, I felt the same way after 10 minutes that I did like 10 days of silence. I'm not talking to somebody.
Right.
Right? And it just turbocharges it. But that feeling, man, is like, it's terrifying. But if anybody's, have you guys ever been caught under a wave?
I have not.
Yes, in a pool. That's my first like drowning feeling experience. Yeah.
So I got caught at Sandy's Beach in Hawaii, and Oahu. It's like a very known spot for body surfing. But the shore breaks happen there. And we're talking about sometimes 12, 15 foot overhead shore breaks. So you're standing in this much water, and then the wave is like 12, 15 feet above. And I went there. I wanted to learn how to body surf. And so sometimes what happens is like your students think like you could do magical shit, right? Like it's the first time I'm doing it, right? And they're like, the wave comes, they're like, duck dive, right? And duck dive, what it means is hit your chest to the floor.
Yeah.
You got to hit your chest to the floor. There's this much space. If you got to put your chest to the floor, and that you have that much space, and the wave rolls over you, and the wave's coming, and I just see them say duck dive, and they disappear. So then I dove into the wave,
Ooh.
and it sucked me up, slammed me down. Then you're like in the washing machine, everything goes black.
Yeah.
And literally all the breathing and jiu-jitsu stuff, because I had been in it,
Yeah.
and I'd been in that situation longer, allowed me to last long enough in that human washing machine
Wow.
to place my feet on the ground and push up and get my breath.
Yeah.
Then I learned lesson number 2, that waves come in sets. And then I got hit again, and the same thing happened. And then I came back up, I crawled to the beach, the most exhausted I've ever been in my life. And I just dropped, and I was like, oh my God, that was insane. And it was just jiu-jitsu and the breathing and being in those situations allowed me to get out of it.
Right.
But then came the real test of fight or flight. Like, okay, so now I know what to do. Do I go back out there?
Do I go back or do I stand?
And so I sat there for 20 minutes watching the waves. I was like, there's no fucking way I'm leaving like that. The wave is not going to beat me. I know what to do now.
Right.
So I went back out there and I beat the wave. What do you mean by beat the wave? Went under, hit, let it pass over, and just let it do that a bunch of different times, as terrifying as it was. And then it came back out and said, I won.
Right on, man. Wow.
But
That's
That's martial arts, man. That's life. Life is gonna be like a wave that hits you and smacks you in the face.
Yeah.
You gotta keep getting up and
Right.
jumping back in.
Wow.
I think it's amazing. It's like you passed the first one. And you're like, oh, the second lesson's here.
Yeah.
Right back to back.
Yeah, shit.
It was
It always comes down. I was like, just like a wrestler, shoot, reshoot, right? The wrestler
Yeah.
shoots at you. A good wrestler, I was
Yeah.
gonna shoot at you again. It's not
Yeah.
just one. He's
They're
coming
gonna-
in doubles and triples.
They're gonna chain it on you.
Yeah. So
Man. So let's see. You. Last thing I have to talk about, and of course, if anything else you guys want to talk about, I'm open for it because this is one of the better conversations we've had. First of all, thank you.
Oh, thank you. It's an honor to be here.
I know you were on. You've been on the cover of a lot of magazines. You have a book coming out. You have all of these accomplishments. But and I asked this to a lot of people, when it's all over and you're going to look back, you know, if it was going to be over now, what would you be most proud of?
never giving up.
Right on.
Yeah, never giving up. It's you see the magazine covers or you see the end result. Everybody always looks at the end result, and the end result is, like I said, the magazine cover doesn't mean anything to me. What it means to me is what I went through to get to that cover.
Excellent.
It was the journey, you know, and just those are and my, you know, don't get me wrong. It's like, oh, okay, great, I did it, but it doesn't define me and make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already happy.
Right.
I don't need a magazine cover to make me happy.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's great, cool, awesome. I get to influence more people.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic. Get to serve more people. Awesome. This is what it's about. But where I celebrate is I celebrate the overcoming of all the adversity that it took to get to that point.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where the celebration is. It's like, wow, look at that journey. That journey was badass. And then you got to be there's a self-talk. I'm a big believer of self-talk. Self-talk is also a big part of Neigong. It's also a big part of modern psychology. So when you ask somebody, what is the definition of confidence? And many things will be said, but it really comes down to self-talk. It's what you say to yourself. And it's what you say to yourself, not necessarily when things are good, but what you say to yourself when things are bad.
100%.
That's what it's all about. And it's everybody at home can easily discover this. You could do a simple exercise. I do this with all my clients. And number one thing is you sit down and you go back and you research your own experiences and you find the time when you were winning. What were you saying to yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What was the situation, internally and externally, going on around you? And put yourself into that headspace of when you were winning. What were you saying to yourself? Identify that phrase. Well, how about you? Let's just do it live. Experiment.
Okay.
So I want you to close your eyes for a second. I want you to go back. And I want you to think about a time when you felt so strong. When you felt so powerful. When you were on top of the world. When you were just crushing it to the highest level possible. And readers or listeners, do this along with us. And now find that moment, you know, and when you've got that moment, when it pops in your head, nod your head. Now, what were you saying to yourself? Was it, I'm strong, I'm powerful, I'm unbreakable, I'm unbeatable? What was it? Or was it a feeling? Like I'm amazing, awesome, powerful. There's something. So if it was a feeling, I want you to turn it into a phrase. I am.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. I am unbeatable. What was yours?
I am more than good enough.
I'm more than good enough. What was yours?
Unstoppable.
So then we turn that into I'm unstoppable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's do the flip side. Close your eyes and think of when you were losing. And shit was hitting the fan. You were at your lowest and life sucked.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got that event?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What were you saying to yourself?
I am less than.
What were you saying to yourself?
Why?
Yeah, why me? Right? So now here's the skill. The skill is to take what you said to yourself when you're winning and reprogram your subconscious so that you say that when you're losing.
Right.
And when you do that, because the mind is in three states. It's in the negative mind, the positive mind, and then the no mind.
Mm-hmm.
But we have to have a way to go from the negative mind to the positive to the no mind.
Right.
Or the zone. So first, that's why you have to practice stillness. So you get aware of what you're thinking, what your thoughts are. So you're like, oh man, I'm up in my head thinking again. Oh shit, cool. The moment you become aware of that, you're present.
Mm-hmm.
Then you replace that negative thought. So once you have to become aware of yourself thinking negatively and catch yourself thinking negatively. So when you can do that, then you're like, okay, cool. So the moment you catch yourself thinking negatively, you're present till the next thought comes. Now you either let that thought be negative or random, or you introduce a new thought that's your positive. You've already had that experience of when you've said that to yourself, so it's not fake. Fake it till you make it is a bunch of bullshit.
Yes.
Positive thinking is a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't work that way. You have to be able to give yourself an actual reference point of what you said when you were winning, because your subconscious won't believe it otherwise. Because if you say to yourself, I'm great, I'm so amazing, your subconscious will come back, well, actually, on situation A, B, C, and D, you weren't so great. You kind of sucked.
Your subconscious is an auditor,
Yeah,
dude.
it is. It's like
We've looked at your receipts and you're bullshit.
We know you, dude. Don't try to bullshit us. It knows. So you got to intercept your subconscious.
Right.
But when you say, because your subconscious said the winning statement,
Right.
so it'll believe that.
Right.
Now you hang around in that positive state. I'm unbreakable. I'm unbeatable. I'm better than. I'm amazing. You stay there long enough, you will click into the no mind or the high performance zone.
Yeah.
And that's the method. And what I'm most proud of is the ability to do this process.
Yeah.
And then the result is magazine covers, speaking on stages with like Jack Canfield and Sir Richard Branson and all these other things in my book and all this. That's what it's about. So that end destination means nothing to me. It hasn't happened yet. My starting point also means nothing to me because it's all about the journey in between.
Right.
And how I manage myself like a wave riding it. And when do I catch the right wave to go in?
Mm-hmm.
And when do I duck that wave to go underneath it so it passes over?
Awesome.
And and make myself comfortable, because when the wave is coming, it's uncomfortable. To make yourself comfortable in that uncomfortable situation. And I've learned all that through martial arts, because that's the practical, it's the litmus test. Can I do it when somebody's punching me in the face, giving me resistance? Can I do it against, and then you in martial arts, you have 3 levels of training partners. Number 1, you got somebody you're better than. That's where you get to experiment, create.
Right.
Number 2, you got somebody who's equal to you. That's where you learn to push yourself, and compete's not the right word, but push yourself in that level where it's like, it's a act and react. It's an exchange. And then make yourself comfortable against somebody who's smashing you when you know you're going to get smashed.
Yeah.
There's no winning. It's just making yourself comfortable and smashing. You get those 3 levels down, now you have a practical place to develop your stillness, because you have stillness in movement, and then stillness in movement under chaos. And then when you learn it there on the mat, it's an attribute that you've developed, and then it works in the rest of life.
Wow.
So, and I think that's going to lead to the next segment, and I do have a thought about that because, yeah.
Okay.
Let's go.
Cool.
I like talking before Scott actually gets in the screen, so he can't actually steal the introduction like he wants to do. But Scott had something he wanted to talk about in the segment, and I think we're getting close to monopolizing too much of Sifu Singh's time. But I think that the conversation has been worth every minute, worth every second to drive here. When I was outside, I'm like, am I in the right place? I said, I'm gonna send him a message. but this is awesome. So what did you have there, Scott?
So yeah, so everything you've been saying is past, present, future. You're having a mindset that you've disciplined to whatever situation, whatever event that you encounter, you have a stillness of mind. So what happens is, as this is happening, let's say you are in a situation where normally most people would react emotionally. They would act out of character. They would fall into their fear, their baser instincts, their almost animal thinking, their primal mind of survival. And so with the disciplining of the stillness of mind, you are actually creating a newer reality, a better situation for yourself than if you had stuck into more of an animal-like awareness. So when you go through that animal-like awareness, when you just react emotionally, you actually are creating negative events, worse events. instead of creating a better, more positive event where, as you are saying, that you were on magazine covers, you now have a book, you have a wonderful family, you were able to create a life that you want because of disciplining your stillness of mind, matching that higher self identity, the values, because you were able to discipline who you are. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think everything you said there is spot on. It's something that has to be trained. And, okay, if you wake up in the morning and you don't brush your teeth, your breath stinks. Mm-hmm. You couldn't have brushed your teeth for 50 years, and then the next morning you're gonna wake up and your breath is still not gonna taste, be good because you brushed your teeth for 50 years. You got to do it that morning.
Right.
It's the same thing with stillness. So if I get too tired, or if I get too exhausted, I just went on a stint here where we were shooting projects for Century Martial Arts, for Masters Magazine, for Budo International, where I went, and then I was traveling to Canada to give talks and stuff like that, where I went 24 days in a row of being on, really being just on. So you're speaking in front of 400 people, you have to be on.
Right.
Your energy, you're speaking to a camera and teaching, you have to be on, and so that requires a lot of energy. And so I knew that, and so I'm doing my practices in the morning and in the night to balance myself.
Right.
But I also knew that that was an excess depletion of my energy that would take me away from stillness and would take me back to acting and reacting without seeing things, because my attention and awareness would be lowered, because it's my energy conservation. So at the end of the day, we're looking to conserve our energy. That's the game, is conservation of energy. And energy is in 3 levels: your physical, your energetic, and which is chi, blood flow, whatever you want to call it, and your spirit. Where are they all at? So literally and then I came in and I had my big national expo that I have every year, where all the instructors come in from around the world. And so that was 23 days, something like that, maybe 24 days straight without a moment off. And I then took 2 weeks off. I didn't do much for 2 weeks other than just hang out with my family, because I knew that, hey, I need to gain my energy back.
Right.
I had to turn it yin. Otherwise, those practices that I was doing, they were maintaining me to get through it. But it was unsustainable because the energy output was greater than what was coming in. So it comes back to balance and knowing where you are in time and space and practicing it all the time. But it's just as easy for somebody who practices it all the time to lose it. Mm-hmm. But the idea is that because you practice it all the time and you have methods, how quickly can you identify that you're losing it and bring yourself back? Mm-hmm. That is the whole skill. Unless you leave your family and go off and be a monk in the mountains, nothing wrong with that, but that's a choice. But if you live in society goes up and down. Things happen to you. You have relationships, things happen to you. Like right now, my grandmother is in the hospital.
No goodness.
Yeah, but I can't be sad about it because it doesn't help her. I can't be all upset and call you guys and be like, hey guys, I can't do this today.
Right.
What good would that do? It wouldn't do any good, not to her or to me or to anybody. But the ability to understand, that's there, but my heart is there, and my blessings are there, and my prayers are there. But I must continue on. You feel me? It's something very important. Or things that happen in life, like losing a job or losing a loved one. Or
right.
These are the things that set you off, and they
Definitely.
and get you off track. And that's when you need the training more than ever. You got to know, oh man, this life, back to attention and awareness, my environment has changed. Mm-hmm. And because my environment has changed, this is drawing extra energy from me. It's not ignoring it, it's drawing extra energy. So what do I need to do? I need to make sure that I do my practice to balance myself. The Tai Chi symbol is about yin and yang, but it's about the yin and there's the yang within it. There's the yang and there's the yin within it.
Right.
So it's about really the change. It's not about black or white, day or night, strong or soft. It's all about the change. So it's not about your situation in life, whether it's good or bad. It's about how you manage the change. It's all about the change.
Because it influences each other, and especially when you're able to keep so centered and composed, in effect, your energy ripples out and other people are influenced by it. So if you're able to keep this composed energy, you are leading by example. And now they themselves start to realize, hey, if he can do this, then I can do this, especially in those circumstances.
Because the best leaders are quiet.
Yeah.
Donald
Best
Trump.
best leaders are quiet, focused, and centered. And you don't always have to be this brutal person to be a leader or loud. Loud people are usually a little weak.
Yeah.
You know, just amazing.
So, you know, like back to what you were saying. So to change with change is the changeless state. So that's where it's all at, right? And another thing, when people look at mindset or stillness, they're looking at it only for themselves. So back to what you were saying. So it's like, oh, I need to be better for my job. I need to be better for my health. That's still a selfish way of looking at it. If you want the ultimate power in the universe and you want your meditation practice to be better, dedicate it to the betterment of other people. Because by me being more still, I'm more available to my wife. I'm more available to my son. So I'm doing this for their betterment. By me being more still, I can connect to you guys and we can have a better relationship instead of me sitting here worried about what should I say? Should I talk about my business? Should I talk about that? Did I say the right thing? Are the people watching at home, are they going to like what I just said? And then it starts to create all that shit.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm here to serve. So if one person got one little iota of anything out of it, I'm serving. So if we come from that place of serving in everything we do, whether it's, I want to be physically stronger so that if somebody's in need, I can help them. I can lift them up.
Right.
That changes your mindset about lifting weights.
Right.
You want to be more still? Oh, I want to be more still. I pray for more stillness, and I want to practice my stillness with that mindset so that I can be there for my wife, and I can be there for my son, and I can be there for somebody on the street. I'm driving by, now I have more stillness. I see that man over there. He doesn't have any food. Let me pull over here and take extra 5 minutes of my time and grab him something to eat and just drop it off and go on with my day.
Right.
And that, I think, if we come from serving, we get away from ourselves, and that's the real purpose and the absolute power.
And service is the rent you pay for your room on planet Earth. Muhammad Ali.
Word.
Muhammad Ali quote.
So that's it,
Got
man.
the spine tingles right there.
Yeah.
Because it's what we're designed for.
Right.
We're designed to serve. But remember I said you got to let go of the center? When you let go of the center of who you are, you'll be free to serve. You can't serve if you're only stuck
Worried
with
about yourself.
I and me.
Right.
I think that's what's so great also, like with Bruce Lee, he was always about self-expression, but it was in a way that it was harmonious with the higher self. Like he was able to serve and be him.
Well, I think, like I said, most people who are in positions of admiration serve other people. And that's just the way it is if you think about it. Man, first of all, this was unexpected.
Extremely enlightening.
And when I say unexpected, I mean, when you meet somebody and I don't know you well, and I'm not going to pretend like, most of my guests, you're probably someone I know least that I've had on the podcast. But when you meet someone, you don't expect for when you start peeling back the layers to enjoy every layer. Because you peel back, sometimes, you peel back a layer of onion, you're like, damn, there's kind of a rotten layer here. We're gonna cut this out and we're gonna go straight. But there's nothing there that I didn't enjoy talking to you about. And first of all, I want to really sincerely thank you for taking this time out because I know you're a busy person. I want to also send my love, my spirit, and my prayers out to your grandmother.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
I did not know that. If you would have let me know that, I would have insisted that we did not come today. I would have insisted that you spend time with your family because one thing that if anybody knows about me is the time that you spend is priceless because I can never repay you for your time. Because
Absolutely.
Time is the most precious commodity.
Yeah.
It's the real wealth. Yeah. She's in Canada, and I humbly accept your prayers.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing is like, how do we move forward and keep going and
Yes, sir.
and not allow, because then the negativity is put more positivity out. And this is the happiness podcast.
Yeah.
It's about putting positivity out in the world, man.
Well, and I'm gonna put something positive out right now. So I was watching you just do the still step. When you say you stole a step like Bruce Lee did, man, that was fire, dude. I was like, and I looked at it and I'm like, I'm still in all of that.
Oh, please do. You know what they say, right? If you take from one person, you're called. Guru Dan and Asano said this. If you take from one person, they call you a thief. If you take from like 7 people and put that shit together, they call you an innovator.
Well, I'm gonna innovate that
Just-
shit.
To steal from a bunch of people, and that's the whole point.
That drop stick too.
Jeez.
But I mean, I just want to thank you personally, and I want you to know that anytime you have anything that you want to get out, if our platform can help, which I'm going to admit our platform is not huge, even though we've had some success recently.
Yes,
It's growing and it's pretty exciting. Anything you would ever want to talk about, I am a message away.
Thank
We're a
you,
message
guys.
away. I mean, I truly believe, like I said before, I want to fight the good fight as dirty as I can, and I think that you're on that same page.
Yeah, man, that's it. It's a real honor. It's a pleasure to meet you guys.
It's been
This is
our
an
pleasure.
awesome conversation. I mean, that's really what it's about, right? Get away from this kind of conversation and this kind of conversation. You
Yeah.
actually have fun.
I talk to people,
Right?
dude. Talking to people, that was the biggest thing. Like I had someone say, "Man, your podcast is over an hour," and I say, "Yeah, dude, I'm actually talking to somebody for over an hour, dude. That's dope."
Yeah.
Because we used to do this all the time. When I was young, we used to talk to people all the time.
Yeah.
Like we used to sit down and talk, and like you actually know what they're talking about. But now it's like we talk to people like I send you a text, I send me a text, I send you a text, I send me a text. Then I meet you and I'm like, dude, you're not what I expected. Well, you never met me, fool.
Yeah.
And
You're not
this,
talking about your Tinder dates, are you?
see now you just trolling right there.
He was
You're trolling.
waiting.
You're
he was
trolling.
waiting. He's like, this podcast was more about the higher self, so he's got power right now.
Yeah, it's higher self. And for Tinder is old, I use twerk.com. But anyway, I want to thank you very much.
Thank
thank
you
you
guys.
again.
Thank you very much, and much respect.
Thank you.
Our thoughts and our prayers, definitely.
Thank
And
you.
what do I say? Oh, so the signature tagline.
Yeah.
This is the Happiness Podcast. I'm Grover Reese of Gorilla Combatives.
I'm Scotty of Org Unity.
And we had a special guest, Sifu Singh from the JKD Athletic Association. And I just want to say, have you tried happiness?
Grab yourself a slice today.
That was hella robotic, dude. Boom, we're out.